Today we're going to be taking a look at this 2-in-1 dog training collar. Now this collar is really unique because it includes a lot of different features that other training collars don't. This training collar has been sent to me free of charge for this review, and it's not just a training collar, it is actually a bark collar as well. Most of the time you do have to pick between a bark collar or a training collar, whatever is best going to benefit your dog. However, this one, like I said, is a 2-in-1. So starting out, I do want to show you everything you get and then how you are going to set it up to start training your dog, because there are a bunch of different features and it may look a little bit confusing, but I'm going to give you enough information to get you a lot more comfortable with setting up your training collar and bark collar. So starting out, this is what the collar looks like, and it is a fairly large collar, but it is able to be adjusted to fit your smaller dogs. Next, this is your remote, and of course, this is how you are going to control the collar. Both the remote and the collar are rechargeable, and they do provide you with this split-in charging cable. I really like that they have provided the cable this way because you can charge both of the devices at the same time without needing to use two separate cables. For the collar, they do provide you with some extra prongs and prong covers, and the only difference between the two is that one prong is longer than the other, so you're going to pick which one you're going to use depending on the size of your dog and how much fur they have. They do also provide you with a training clicker. Now, my dogs are not familiar with the clicker training, but I know a lot of dogs do benefit from it, and unlike a lot of the training collars that I have received for a review, do not include this training clicker, so that is a really nice add-on that they provide for you to help you with your training sessions. And then, of course, just your shock tester to make sure the static shock is working. We'll take a look at that here shortly, and you do also get a wrist strap that you can connect onto the remote. However, that is optional. So, like I said, this is a 2-in-1 training collar and bark collar. You do have to set up the different training methods so the collar works how you want it to. So, with all that being said, we're going to take a closer look at the remote, and then we're going to demonstrate it on a dog so you can see how a well-trained dog is going to respond to the use of these training collars. So taking a closer look at both the remote and the collar, we first have to power them both on. So on the side of the remote, we're going to have a mode button, and that is what we're going to use to power on the remote. And then for the collar, there is a power button on the back. Hold that and it will power the collar on. Once you power them both on, this icon that you see on the remote and the collar is going to determine what training method you are on. So right now this is telling us that we are on the dog training collar mode. So what that means is that we're going to be using the remote to control the collar. So first off, we have the tone, and with that we have level 1 all the way to 8, and those different levels is just going to determine what the sound of the tone is going to be. Next, we have a vibration mode. From there, we have 1 to 16 levels, and adjusting that is just going to intensify the vibration. And then lastly, we have the static shock, and with that, we have up to 99 levels for that. If you do want to test the static shock to make sure that it is working properly, you are able to do that with the provided shock tester. So the way we're going to use that is to line up the two prongs in the designated areas, and as you see there, it is working properly. So from there, once you press the mode button, that is going to change what training method you are in. So if we click this 2 times, we're going to have only one icon. So what this is meaning is that we are in the bark collar mode, so you no longer need the remote. To set the different settings for this method is going to be controlled by the buttons on the back of the collar itself. So pressing the power button is going to change the center numbers. So we have 1 through 5, and what that is the sensitivity level. So if it is on level 1, it's going to be less reactive to barks, and if it is on level 5, it's going to be more sensitive to barks. Right here we have a vibration icon. This means that once they bark, it's going to have a tone, and it's also going to vibrate. Now, if we press the mode button, it's going to switch over to the static shock. So what's going to happen there is it's going to detect the bark, it's going to beat, vibrate, and shock all at once. And then the last mode is going to be both the training collar mode with the bark collar mode put together. So you're able to control the collar with the remote, as well as have it be controlled by your dog's bark. So we're going to go ahead and put this on a dog so I can demonstrate a little bit of how this is going to work on your dog. So the first way I want to show you is with the training collar. Now, one way Timber has been trained with these training collars is to be off leash. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to go ahead and let him out the front door here. And I'm going to recall him back with just the collar. Come on. All right, so as you see there, he is behind that truck, and we're going to be able to recall him with the tone. So to demonstrate the bark collar method, of course I can't get him to bark on cue, and he's not much of a barker anyways, so I can bark into this for you so you can see what it would do if he did actually bark. Woo! And then you couldn't hear it or see it, but I could feel it vibrate. So that's what's going to happen when they bark, and depending on what training method you have it on, it's either just going to vibrate or they're going to get the static shock. But this collar was really easy to use, and like I said, this offers a lot more features than your typical training collars do. You have a training collar, a bark collar, and a clicker all in one to cover all areas of your dog's training.